So today we are going to talk about insecurity. When you feel insecure about a relationship or a friend or someone who you like and are not sure of, that those types of insecurities happen from the time we learn that we need to be fearful about who we are, and we start comparing each other and comparing ourselves to other people. That's when we start developing our sense of self and what we want and who we are and who we want to be like. The thing about insecurity is that it's rooted somewhere. And for a lot of us, and especially younger people, teens and college age, we have a very limited scope to be able to interact with the world on a real level, so that we can decide who we are and who we want to be on solid ground with no influence from someone else. It's really hard to do that because in puberty, when you're figuring out who you want to be and what you want to be like, and you try different things, maybe you try drinking, or maybe you try pot, or maybe you don't, or maybe you are a gamer, or maybe you're a writer, or maybe you ride horses or create art. It doesn't matter. The stuff that you look at isn't the same as the stuff that sticks with you. And the stuff that sticks with you just becomes part of your character, part of who you are. What we can't control is other people and how they interact with us in our lives in some regards. In some respects, if you are hanging around with people, friends, or a love interest, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, who leaves, and you have no idea why, something doesn't seem right, who else are you going to point to and say whose fault it is except yours? You know, that's just a normal human thing, that fear. But when you experience loss, and I'm not just speaking about someone dying, although that's part of this, loss, when someone stops being friends with you or talking to you, and you're kind of trying to figure out why, or it's a long-term relationship. And for you, if you are new in relationships in the first, I would say 5-10 years, I mean, especially in the first 5 years of creating meaningful relationships, you know, you're basing your, I'm going to say judgment on yourself, because judgment is really not fair, but you're basing that on how they treated you and what they did to you by leaving, or you feeling like you have to leave the relationship. The other kind of loss that is grief is when someone dies, and then we are insecure, and that there's a fear of abandonment that comes into everyone. When I say insecurity, when I say loss, when I say fear of abandonment, or fear of being alone, they're all the same thing. They all go back to trust and how we relate to the world. So when someone dies, the rug is clearly pulled out from underneath us. We have zero idea how to control that again. And for a while, if you've experienced a traumatic grief or something that is very close to home, a lot of times you do think that everyone else is going to die too. I mean, because this person died. So you get these kind of gut punches every once in a while. And you know, this happens to adults too. So if you're in your teens or 20s, it's not just you, I promise. The thing to recognize for you, and the way to recover, there have been books, videos, there's so much involved with it, but to keep it very, very simple, understand what you're working with first. What you're working with is an insecurity, a fear, whether it's abandonment or rejection, or maybe you already don't think you're good enough, maybe you've been abused. It doesn't matter what happened, the thing that happened, even though everyone has their own story. What matters is how you, I don't want to say react, but how you respond to it in the world. And this takes a lot of work, but it's not long-term work. It's just a lot of work to get to the point that you don't have to work so hard when it happens if you set yourself up right. And to mitigate the feelings of insecurity, you are not good enough, abandonment, he's going to leave me, loss, everybody else is going to die, or not dealing with a traumatic loss, that will haunt you until you do it. Especially if you have like guilt or other factors associated with loss. And I'm not just talking about death here. If you have other factors where maybe you did something wrong in the relationship, maybe you made a mistake, maybe you didn't, and they just blamed you. Those kind of things, we look to ourselves and we try to assign guilt and blame. And then here we are again, trying to figure out where we fit in the world. So the first thing is to identify that it's all encompassing the same basic thing, that everyone in life goes through it. It doesn't matter if you are 13, 15, or 55. Solidifying your ground in the world. And you can look to one of my other videos that I just posted about this for help. But solidifying yourself in the world takes one practice at a time. The first one, I'm going to give you 3. The first one is breathing. When you're caught off guard, when somebody texts you or social media chats you somehow and you get that immediate reaction, that immediate fear that, oh my God, what's going to happen next? It's hard to calm down and breathe. Or they say something that really makes you angry or upset. It's hard to calm yourself to breathe. Breathing, especially taking deep belly breaths, and just 3 for a start. If you can do 10, that would be fantastic. But a deep belly breath, and especially 3, calms. It doesn't just calm your mind down so you can think. That's not it. It takes the oxygen that's constricted and tied up in your bloodstream and can't really get to your brain so much, which causes your anxiety and your anger and you just to go off the chain sometimes. That's your amygdala again, okay? If you breathe, and I mean belly breaths, that was not a belly breath, a deep breath, however you want, more oxygen gets back into your blood, it goes up to your brain, you're calming down, so your body is telling your brain, hey, chill out, everything's fine. That's when you can assess the situation and find out, did this person post, say, call, whatever, something that I need to freak out about and do something about? Or can I say, oh yeah, that guy just broke up with me, a couple months ago, and this is a new guy, and I think he's going to do the same thing, and I just need to chill out and really figure out what I can about the situation when it's time, Maybe it's not in the heat of the moment. And that is kind of the hard part of maybe waiting for that. The second thing I'm going to say is that you have a choice in every single thing, everything you think, everything you do, every way you feel. A feeling lasts for 17 seconds. Some people say 19 seconds, and then it's gone. So when you learn to breathe through it and control that part, you can find out more easily, where did that feeling come from? Is that a fear or something I need to pay attention to? Is that thought something I need to pay attention to? And when you start paying attention to those thoughts or those feelings, then you can take corrective action. Taking corrective action is simply about your choice. Do you want to cry about it and be sad and upset if your best friend just moved away and you don't think you're ever going to have any friends because you don't have any friends as it is? Probably for a while, but then you're going to have to get up and say that, there are times that you're going to be by yourself no matter what. And you're going to have to be okay with that. So that other people can do it, then you can do it too. That's my life's motto now. I know somebody else survived what I have gone through, so I know I can do it. I just don't know how. That is a choice. You can choose to be very insecure and sleep with every guy out there if you want, because that's a choice. You can do stupid drugs or drink if you think it's going to make somebody happy. In a relationship, I see people all the time. They eat where they don't want to. They spend money they don't want to. They spend time doing things they don't want to because it's the other person that they're worried about taking care of. And when you're doing that, that is a choice. So I'm going to give you number 3. Number 3 is self-care. Who are you? What do you want? Those things are going to change over time. But who are you is a lot easier on you if you choose to look at, I can do it because somebody else did it. I'm going to take a deep breath and calm down so that I can figure this out. I'm not going to cave into my emotions and my feelings and my thoughts and all that kind of stuff. And I'm going to practice self-care. So I know that when everything gets really messed up and I can't get a hold of myself, I can't get it together, I have a place to go with it. That place is self-care. Self-care is a very hard thing to explain because there are a gazillion ways to do it. The ways that I practice self-care, tell myself that I love myself, which is kind of hard for me to do, to be honest. I take baths, I read, I listen to audiobooks. I love to listen to audiobooks that have nothing to do with anything serious at all. I just do. Some people play games. Going outside and taking a walk. I know that sounds crazy to some people, especially in the winter. If you have a dog, especially, you have no excuse not to. Or you can volunteer at your local shelter and make yourself accountable for doing something that you like and feels good to you. Self-care also includes taking care of your body. If you've been eating crappy lately and you're getting upset about stuff all the time and you know your hormones are off and things just aren't going well, the first thing you can do is start eating healthier. I'm not saying change your diet. It's one choice at a time. But if you're drinking too much coffee or energy drinks or something like that, slow your roll. You know, these choices are all manageable, but they're all to be celebrated. Even if you do it one time. If I have a goal to walk and I only walk one time a week, it's still walking, and I still need to celebrate that. So rewarding yourself is a practice of self-care. I reward myself personally with an app. They don't pay me. They don't even know my existence, but I can't remember. It's called Tip Yourself. I don't even know if it's a good idea that I do it, but I tip myself. I send myself like $5 every once in a while. I don't have a lot of money. I want to save money. It feels good to save money. So when I do something that I'm proud of, something silly, and nobody's around to see it, because that's not the point, right? I tip myself. Who cares? What do you do for yourself? One way to take care of yourself is to write a note to yourself on the mirror. I know that's crazy sounding, but my daughter and I used to write each other notes on the mirror all the time. I love you. I believe in you. I mean, that was probably a little bit corny for us, but for me now, I write notes on the mirror to my fiance, and he does the same now. I'm not counting on that, though. I don't count on a response, but writing a note to your mirror saying a year from now, things will be different, or choose to calm down, or breathe. Just the word breathe. I've done that before. Those sort of things, taking care of yourself, tells your body and your brain's part of your body, that you are worth taking care of. And that little practice makes your body, allows your body to excrete hormones that are good feeling hormones. You don't get those hormones by getting drunk and doing stupid stuff and by getting high. Those mask anything that's going on with you first. So if you're escaping into something that can be addictive, I don't care if it's video games, food, sleep, whatever it happens to be, remember that you're masking, distracting yourself by watching some stupid TV or an audiobook, like I said, or any of the myriad ways that you can spend some time, that you're not masking it, is good because it lets your brain reset and you can come back to it later. But those deep fears that we all have them but you have to recognize where they come from. That might take a little bit of hard work. And when you get into that hard work, post your comments and let me know how it goes for you. This video is a little bit longer than I'm used to, so I'm going to try to cut it down a little bit. And I will talk to you soon. I love you.